Hey everybody, it's me, Will.
And me, Kristen, and we are putting out a call to you, our audience, because we want to do a little listener appreciation thing.
Yeah.
We would like to have some shows coming up where, first of all, we have enough listener stories for a new episode. However, by all means, send more. We just want to be candid about the fact that if you send something in right now, it's not going to go in the next listener stories episode. However, we store them and they always end up coming in the future.
So if you've had an experience, you know, a family member or a friend who's had an experience, get their permission, send it in, gttupod@gmail.com. But we want to go even further. It's been a long time since we've done this, but we would love to answer some listener questions. Whatever questions you may have for us about the paranormal, about horror as a genre, about our lives, the show, whatever you want, send us in questions.
In the past, we've answered all kinds, personal stuff, show stuff, pop culture, whatever. So let it fly.
And as if that were not enough, we also want to hear some hot takes from you. What are your unpopular opinions about the paranormal or about horror media, spooky stuff? Hot takes. And I want hypotheticals.
Yeah.
I want to have questions where it's like, you know, who wins, Godzilla or Freddy Krueger?
Right.
Godzilla's got a dream, right?
True.
I don't know. Maybe that's not a great one.
But you get the
idea. Send us little things where you want to hear our gears turn and have to riddle things out.
Yes.
All of those can go to gttupod@gmail.com. Listener stories, listener questions, hypotheticals, and hot takes. Hit us with whatever you got, and we'll make some fun shows.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Totally.
Enjoy.
You ruined the big reveal. I thought you were a storyteller. What's going on here? Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And ooh, look behind you. We're lurking in your walls. We live in your home.
She said, look behind you.
That's right. We are talking about phrogging.
Phrogging!
Phrogging is the act of living in somebody's home unbeknownst to them.
Yes.
Or staying in it, for a period of time.
An odd term.
Yeah. Do you know where that... I didn't look it up either. Do you know where that came from? Okay, yeah.
I know a lot about phrogging now.
Right.
So I covered for this, I covered sort of like real life phrogging stuff. I'm certain that I'm going to need some backup from you about this like recent, fairly popular show, which I watched
no problem.
none of, and I know that you did watch.
Yes.
But phrogging as a concept is inherently stressful and scary.
It's terrifying.
And awful.
Yes.
So you said it, I'm just going to say it again just to underscore it. The idea of phrogging, and now this is with a PH, if you, you probably clicked on the episode or saw the cover art or whatever. PH phrogging, which I think is almost an embarrassing term.
Yes, I agree.
Is the idea of somebody living in your house without you knowing that they're there. And you might, notice that food is going missing. You might notice that things are getting moved around that you did not move. Some people, it seems, in a lot of these cases, because this is something that has happened in real life.
Yeah.
Some people almost immediately go like, my house is haunted because things are happening in my house that I didn't do.
That seems to be... So what Will was talking about, the popular show, there's this show that is... It's from Lifetime, but it's on Hulu. That's where I saw it on like the home screen. Called Phrogging, Hider in My House. And
hider. There's a hider in my house.
Hider in my house.
It's very weird.
And I watched it, and the structure of it is honestly almost kind of like a ghost show, like Paranormal Witness or something like that, where they have interviews with the real people who went through this and then reenactments of what was going on. And so it seemed to me after watching a bunch of them, there were 10 episodes. After watching a bunch, there was like a pattern of like, I'm noticing stuff is missing. I think I'm nuts. It's probably nothing.
Yeah.
Now it's undeniable. I think it's a ghost.
Yeah.
And then moving on to like there being proof that it's a real person. Not every single person thought it was a ghost, but for the first few episodes, that was definitely a recurrence.
So much worse than your house being haunted.
Oh, yeah.
Is finding out that there's somebody living in the walls.
Like in the walls, in your attic,
in
a crawl space, in your basement. Yeah.
Just another person in your house. Is there a bigger, more practical fear?
No, I just got a literal chill.
And it harkens back in some ways. We talk a lot about urban legends on the show, especially in the last year or so. But my like favorite urban legend, that maybe one of the most famous urban legends of all time, the babysitter and the man upstairs.
Yeah.
The call is coming from inside the house. The one thing you would never expect is that the person is already in your house and is seemingly just content to be camping out and watching you.
Right.
Oh my God.
And just messing with you.
Just messing with
for
you.
For its own fun.
Yes.
Playing with its food before it eats.
My God, like Pennywise.
Yeah.
Salting the meat.
Yeah, gathering.
Yes.
Strength.
Building
Steam.
power.
Yeah.
Well, or like squatting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's mostly that.
Yes, and there's a big thing to, I think, even say about the squatting condition of like, this person should not be doing this. I'm not going to make any bones. Get that frogger out of my house. But if somebody's frogging, there is likely some other significant issue going on.
Yeah, they're in
them.
some sort of desperate situation, whether it's homelessness, mental health issues, an overlap of the two.
Yes, your safety is still at risk.
Absolutely, and it shouldn't be happening.
It should not be happening.
It's a sad thing. It's not very often that people are just doing it because they're like a weirdo who's just getting their jollies or something.
There's a cut and dry quality to the babysitter and the man upstairs. He is a sicko who's here to kill and attack you.
Right.
A frogger is like, I'm going to hide in here and live in here.
Yeah.
And feed off your scraps and hope you don't notice. Skim a little off the top.
I think in almost every situation, just specifically from that TV show, I shouldn't say almost every, but the vast majority were people who were in a desperate spot and did that. And then it would be sprinkled in with perverts and like violent exes messing with you. Messing with women specifically. Yeah.
Freakoid revenge.
Yes.
Don't do that.
No.
So I looked up Phrogging on the internet. It brought me to Urban Dictionary.
William, what if this ends up like clap alien cheeks?
You'd think it would go that
we better double check.
You are thinking the same way that I was thinking. As soon as I saw Urban Dictionary, I was very concerned. It was so useful. I couldn't believe how useful Urban Dictionary was.
What we're referring to is that an episode from like a couple years ago or something about Area 51. It's called Storm Area 51 if you want to look it up.
Hashtag Storm Area 51.
Yeah, you're right.
Hashtag in one of our episode titles.
Yeah, you're right. Somebody was selling merch for people who were going to be storming Area 51 that said, I clap alien cheeks. And Will and I were like, what does that mean? We like kind of knew, but we went to Urban Dictionary and what I thought, my first thought that it was a sex thing, but then Urban Dictionary said it was fighting with somebody. You like clap their cheeks or something, like slapping them. And we said that on the show. No. The outpouring of education from our listeners, letting us know that we were wrong.
Yeah, it was like there was a deluge of people really trying to help us.
Yeah,
help us understand.
You know what? I really appreciate you helping us learn.
The patience. It was a learning teaching moment.
No, but seriously, so much. It was so funny.
Well, so thankfully, Urban Dictionary, I don't think has led me astray. Phrogging does not have some alternate, voice definition. Instead, phrogging.
So clapping cheeks was like bam, bam, bam. Second clapping cheeks.
Thank you. Phrogging is a person secretly living in another person's home. The word is pronounced like the animal frog, though it begins with a PH. And it gets its name because frogs, PH frogs, tend to hop around from pad to pad.
That's right.
Pad being slang for a place to live.
Yes.
So you just essentially crash in somebody else's home.
And then you bounce to the next.
You bounce. Which is like too cool for school.
I know. I just remember
I've been frogging. I've been bouncing around from pad to pad. It sounds like it would be from the 70s or something.
It does. Maybe it is.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
There's a very definitive origin.
Oh.
Although, well, I guess I can't say very definitive. We'll get there.
Okay. And I just want to mention, Will is covering kind of real life stuff. I am going to be talking about afterward a movie called I See You.
Yeah.
With Helen Hunt in it. And they mentioned, I forgot, they mentioned this pad to pad thing in I See You.
Oh, do they say that? Do they say pad to pad?
Yeah.
Pad.
No, I think they say lily pad because they're talking about the frog thing.
Fair enough. But nobody calls their house a pad anymore.
Makes me kind of want to start.
If somebody says like, Want to come over to my pad? You say no.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not safe.
You're busy.
That's true. It's not safe.
You're busy. You got to hang out with Guide to the Unknown that night.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you my my personal history with Phrogging.
Okay.
All right. It's don't worry. I seldom leave the house and never did.
I know.
I have a recollection of something I saw on the internet.
Yeah.
So I remember being a kid. Like we're like the last generation that can be like, I remember what it was like before the internet.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then the internet came out.
Yeah, and it rocked us all.
Whoa! It's like, holy guacamole! You know what's on this thing?
Have you seen this?
Look at this stuff, Dad. Yeah. So
Look at all these people I can talk to. It's very safe.
I saw a video that was incredibly influential to, I think, young Willie.
Okay.
I saw a video. It was some low res thing, a security camera inside a person's home.
Yeah.
And it's night vision. Whoever's apartment it is or house or whatever, they're in bed, obviously. Mm-hmm. And you almost wouldn't notice it, but there's a little crawl space in the top right corner of the frame.
Uh-oh.
Like above the entry to this apartment. Mm-hmm. And a lady crawls out silently, drops to the floor and walks over to the fridge, and just starts eating food out of the refrigerator and like opens up a carton of orange juice and like puts her lips on it and is drinking from it, and then like hears something. And so silently skitters back up to the crawl space.
So scary.
To hide back inside. Oh my God. I saw this. I could have sworn I saw this when I was like 12 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did some digging for this episode and found out that I was 23 years old and it came out in 2009.
Very good.
It's very weird. In my memory, this happened. In like the 90s or something. I can't believe it.
Memories?
The video. I found the video itself.
Oh, excellent.
Which is outstanding. It's on a channel called You Know It Joe.
Okay.
I'll put the link in the show notes on gttupod.com where we put all of our sources. And the video was simply titled Creeper in My Apartment. Phrogging as a term was not popularized until the last few years, though it was coined earlier. But this video, which I think a lot of people have seen, it's got like 21 million views.
Wow.
So a lot of people have seen this video. It was Creeper in My Apartment. Nothing about Phrogging.
Yeah.
We don't use that word yet.
I had never heard that word until I watched this show.
Oh, okay. Really? Okay.
Never. I didn't look closely enough, I guess.
It's a strange word.
It is. The poster, for lack of a better word, for the show is an eye poking, like looking through an electrical socket. I wasn't looking closely enough, I guess. When I just first saw the word Phrogging, I thought it was going to be about like internet crime or something. It sounded like a very like E word.
Yeah. And, Phrogging. Yeah, it sounds like when they're like, my name is Deep Freeze.
Yeah.
And
like
I'm
hackers.
a hacker.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't really want to watch that. And then when I registered the picture and the subtitle hider on my house, I was like, oh, gotcha, click.
Yeah, my name's Jimmy Chill. What's your handle?
Oh, yeah.
Like on the net.
That's right.
It's embarrassing. Phrogging. Absolutely
Weird.
Sounds like that. And
I know. Do you remember that the word fat with PH stands for pretty hot and tempting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty hot and tempting. I only hear that in like Garth's voice.
I was about to say the exact same thing. Yeah.
She's pretty hot.
And tempting.
And tempting. Pretty hot and rocking.
Tempting.
So weird. So here's what really happens in this Creeper in My Apartment video. Because like I said, now I have watched it anew. It actually opens with Joe. Mm-hmm. Joe looking right into the camera, and he explains basically what I said to you about a lot of these cases of having a frogger in your house, where he's like, I had noticed some of my food had gone missing. And now here's a quote from Joe. So, he's like, I didn't eat it.
Yeah.
Quote, so I confronted my girlfriend who lives with me, and she claimed she wasn't eating it. So I decided I'm going to set up a video camera, and I'm going to catch her.
Oh my God.
Now,
and then they catch this.
And then
number one.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even ready for the Frogger yet.
Of course.
I'm on to Joe noticed that there's a cupcake missing, and his girlfriend says she didn't eat it, and he's like, well, I'm going to catch you.
Yeah, I'm not loving the communication breakdown that's happening here. I'm not
you.
loving that he confronted her.
Yes, the word confront. And now I'm going to set up a camera.
I was hoping that it was just a strange choice of words for Joe to say explaining this, because people just sometimes say the wrong word.
I should explain, Joe is almost definitely going to listen to this episode, so let's be very careful what we say.
Why do you say that?
Joe is very active online.
Oh, okay. Well... Yeah.
We love you, Joe. Here's looking at you, Joe.
I don't know you, Joe.
I think it's fine to confront your girlfriend about a sandwich or something and then set up secret cameras in your house.
Yeah, that's so...
Sounds good to me.
All right, it's going to be, what's that man who got mad at us?
I know that man. He wrote a book that I bought.
I can't remember. We talked about a haunted house on the show.
And he opened an Airbnb.
Yeah, and the guy, it seemed ridiculous, the story, and I talked shit about it, and then he commented on our video.
It's sometimes we talk about... All I can do is say how I feel.
I know.
And see what this video was. So anyway, all right. So he did this. You
got to pay the piper.
He did this. He set up the camera, and then the video happens more or less how I said. Joe sets up the camera and goes to bed. The woman crawls down from the crawl space, and he puts text on screen. It's like, this is not my girlfriend, which is so scary. But
it must be scarier if he didn't put that, and you're like, why does your girlfriend sleep up there?
Well, because I can't help it with my Guide to the Unknown goggles.
Yeah, of course.
My skeptic goggles. Mm-hmm. I think to myself, even that opening, he didn't confront his girlfriend.
Right.
And he didn't notice that food was missing. He realized he has a crawl space, and he could set up a camera, and they could shoot a cool video.
Which is correct,
Which is absolutely correct. It's an excellent video. 21 million views earned.
Yeah, it sounds sweet. But, I mean, taking it at face value, how scary.
How scary. And so...
That's horrifying.
The woman crawls out of the crawl space. It is not silent. Mm-hmm. Her, feet make a sound when they, thud down onto, a counter, you know? But they're the kinds of sounds that even if I heard them from my room, I would 100% be like, oh, I guess the house is settling.
Oh, I'm sure.
P.S. I know people have already explained this to us. What's going on? Why is your house settling and making all this noise?
What's it doing?
Yeah. Allie and I, we will, watch some Taskmaster for, an hour after Zoe goes to bed or something like that, and I'll hear clangs from pipes down here in the basement. And I just convince myself that that's fine. It's normal. I don't know what's going on. I don't hear any clanging right now. What's going on?
No idea what the house is doing.
House ain't supposed to be moving. Anyway.
Have you ever seen those videos of the Brooklyn Bridge over a year or whatever?
It's swaying and stuff?
Oh,
really?
God. Yeah, absolutely. It's moving all over the place.
That ain't right. It's made out of bricks.
It ain't right.
It's supposed to stay
I'll
where
tell
it
you
is.
something. It ain't right. I'm not sure if it's the Brooklyn Bridge, but it's a bridge.
That bridge ain't right.
No.
So then the lady, she comes down, and this makes sense, but I'd forgotten it. She goes over, and he puts a graphic on the screen to explain what she's doing. She's peeing in the sink.
Okay.
She's urinating in his kitchen sink. Mm-hmm. And then she opens the fridge and starts to chow down on food. Here's what I wrote.
Quick question about the peeing. Does she, is she wearing pants or anything?
Must be.
I have no recollection. Does she pull down pants? Is she wearing a dress, or she just goes?
It's night vision footage. It's dark, and
hard to say.
I didn't go out of my way to squint and really to examine each and every pixel.
It's just curious is all. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I think she's sitting in his kitchen sink.
Yeah.
It's unsanitary. Your reaction hasn't been as big as I expected to the urination in the sink, I have to admit. I thought that really would be a big headline.
It is a big headline.
It got breezed right over.
Again, assuming, as we must, that these are people who are not doing well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know. Of course.
You know what I mean?
Sympathy.
No, sympathy.
Don't pee in my kitchen sink.
1,000,000%.
Ricky Gervais used to
sympathy,
tell.
of course. I'm just saying it's not as shocking because maybe you're just looking for somewhere to pee that's not going to get all over you. There's...
You can't frog on over to the bathroom, man?
I don't know. I guess you're trying to get in and out. No, I
don't like the snapping. There's an early Ricky Gervais, he's one of the pioneers of podcasting.
Yes.
He's one of the reasons we do this.
I know.
So he told a story a million years ago about...
I didn't have 1,000,000 hours of this on my iPod. Go ahead.
Hell yeah. That old XFM show, right?
Yeah.
So he used to tell a story about how he would be in bed with his wife, not his wife, his girlfriend, Jane. And I think it was back when he used to drink, like a lot. And so he said that he would sometimes get out of bed and they had a small apartment and he'd walk over to the kitchen sink to pee in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And be like, I moved the dishes. And it's like, there was one night that he didn't. He like forgot to. And Jane was like, oh, Rick. It's like, come on, everybody.
I know.
A little decorum, please. Please.
No, I'm sure that she was just trying to get in and out as fast as possible. Saw a drain. Like George Costanza says, a drain's a drain.
Well, Joe does a time lapse in his video here. Here's what I wrote. She opens the fridge and starts chowing down. A smorgasbord. Lips on cartons. And then she sits down to watch some TV. That's a huge
All right,
risk.
that changes everything.
That changes everything,
That changes everything. Then it's extremely weird that she just went for the sink. Because I seriously thought you were going to say she comes down from the crawl space, goes to the kitchen, eats, goes right back
Does
up.
the bare minimum, right. Food and elimination, and you're back in, right?
This changes everything.
No, she's going to hang out while this guy is asleep.
It's unbelievably a weird choice.
Brazen.
Yes.
And so...
brazen to the extreme.
She hears a sound. Okay, she ducks out of view, turns off the TV, the whole shebang. Maybe she's even done with the TV by this point, but she hears a sound.
Like the clown doll from last week. The clown doll was hanging out in the living room.
You're right.
And then he heard a sound from upstairs because the babysitter was putting the kids to bed faster than he expected. So he had to pretend to be a doll.
We don't have a clown doll. Mr. Marbles?
Mr. Marbles?
So she ducks out of view. As Joe walks into frame on the night vision camera, he goes over to the fridge, pours himself a glass of something.
Oh, I hope it's not what she just drank.
Oh, it's out of that carton. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
And then he goes back to sleep none the wiser, giving the creeper a chance to hit the pantry one last time before deftly climbing back up into the crawl space. The video gets to its conclusion the next morning. Again, it's all time-lapse. The whole video itself is barely, not even 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
So Joe is now up and preparing to leave for the day. He goes over to the fridge, opens it up, takes out the carton, puts it right to his lips, drinks from it. And he goes to leave, but then remembers to come back and take down the camera. The end. Now, do you believe it? Right? Like there's.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it to. I don't know. Who knows?
I know.
And you don't either.
I don't either. But I wrote here the end. ...
question mark.
It's not over, Kristen. The YouTube's video description has a little Q&A. Question 1: Are you shitting me? Answer: No, this is every bit as real and messed up as it seems. 2: What did you do when you saw the footage? Answer: I immediately left my apartment and called the police. Question 3: Who is that girl? Answer: I have no idea. She didn't say much when the cops came and took her. 4: What was she actually climbing down from? And it's a storage area, whatever. How did she get in? There's a theory that she came in through... that she was coming in to rob him, but then decided to stay.
Yeah.
Right. And supposedly it's not the first time the police have come across something like this. Question 6.
Okay, I was about to say, why do they think that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question 6. How long was she in your apartment? The police officers thought it looked as though she had been there for at least a couple of weeks.
Oh my God.
But it could have been longer. And more info may be coming. Now, Kristen, I already told you that this video is from 2009.
Yeah.
Strangely, there's an update in the video description. Update May 30th, 2023.
Weird.
So what is that, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
7 months ago? Barely? Subscribe to this channel and click the bell for notifications. I will be posting more footage that I found from this incident. Delayed, because just moved my life across the country. I've got some things in the works you don't want to miss. Joe Cummings is a working actor.
Okay.
A fun little item that I actually spotted on his resume is that he is one of the performers in the reenactment sections of Celebrity Ghost Stories. Which we have covered a couple of times here on Guide to the Unknown.
So Joe is a friend of the pod.
Yes, Joe is a friend. He's a friend to us. Joe Cummings played, in the reenactments, he played actor C. Thomas Howell.
Okay.
Who was famously from The Outsiders and Soul Man. You know what that is?
Oh, yeah, I do.
You know about Soul Man?
Yes.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Oops.
But that has nothing to do with Joe.
Oops. No.
So, yeah. So 21 million views, one video on this channel, from 2009. He's a professional actor with a ton of credits. He was like on the blacklist. He's done a ton of stuff.
Oh, so he's been opposite Spader.
He has.
He's studied under the greats.
Trod the same boards as James Spader. And
his little hat.
That again, I don't know, and I'm not going to say that it's not real, but
right.
I'm
surprised to hear that there's more footage, now, because I thought he set it up specifically that night to catch his girlfriend.
That's correct.
So why would there be?
That's a totally valid question.
Okay.
Could it be because there's a show called Phrogging Hider in My House?
Yeah, I don't know when this came out.
Gigantic.
It came out this year, but
he's also here's why I think he's going to listen to this episode.
Nervous.
He has never let anybody use that footage, and he's like, this footage is only on my channel. I've never approved it going anywhere else. Okay. If you've seen it, it's been taken. Like, he's very protective, as he should be. He's got 21 million views. Yeah. It's his thing. What puts there are 1,000 checks into definitely real.
Right.
One of which being, I've already said, like, you're a professional actor, man. Do it again. But he didn't do it again.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just a thing that happened.
It clearly does happen. So there's no reason to think that it's not. Yeah.
It's just, I'm not saying anything I haven't seen other people say.
Yeah.
But it's such a tricky thing.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean?
Just the internet. The very nature of it makes you wonder.
Yeah. Question everything you see.
Yeah.
You know? So I did promise you some information about the origin of phrogging.
Yes, please.
All right? That's maybe one of the most famous, like, early internet, not early internet, but one of the famous, like real phrogging videos online before they even used the word phrogging.
Yeah.
Although that's 2009, 2007, I found something, Kristen.
Okay.
So you can look at, you know what Google Trends are?
No.
You can search, like, show me literally like a chart, peaks and valleys of people being interested in certain terms. So I put in phrogging.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of stuff starting in 2019, 2020 because of that Helen Hunt movie that we'll talk about in a little while.
Yep.
And especially now, phrogging as a term, I think, has become more commonplace, the word phrogging. So there's a lot of spikes these days.
Yeah.
Dead air. A lot of dead air. Until you go as far back as 2007.
Yeah.
This is so weird.
Okay.
And I love this. Love this. There was a vlog, question mark, or web series, question mark. Again, what's real, what's not real? Phrogging is real. People have frogged and will frog again.
It's true.
But these particular things I'm talking about, because they are presented on entertainment sites, it can't help you but starting to question, of course, the veracity of them. I found people debating what happened to a web series called Phrogging Living with Strangers.
Okay.
So here's somebody on Reddit who posted trying to figure out what this thing was that they themselves saw on the internet in 2007 and cannot find anymore. It's like you found a website, got fascinated by it, and can't get back to it. Can you help me find it, everybody?
Yeah, it sucks.
So somebody said it was two women named Lauren and Renee. They were college graduates who got screwed by their jobs, out of work or something. A lot of question of whether or not they were actresses.
Okay.
This person says, I do not believe they were actresses or that this was staged, but they had a friend named Matt in this vlog or web series. These two girls have a friend named Matt who is a filmmaker and gives them cameras because they've been phrogging. And they call it phrogging in 2007. This is one of the earliest times that term has ever been used for this context.
The gals themselves are
the
going
gals
out?
themselves have been leaping from pad to pad.
Gotcha.
They're a couple of frogs, and their friend Matt gives them video cameras so that they can document what they've been up to.
Okay.
And these videos were being uploaded to a website called livingwithstrangers.com.
Oh my God.
Which is so scary.
It's so messed up.
They're just documenting and laughing and giggling and quietly, like, watching people live their lives as they're hiding in closets and in basements and stuff.
Yeah.
And so this stuff was online. Once they realized the homeowners could figure out it was their house on their website and their footage.
If they happened upon it.
Renee and Lauren feared being in trouble with the law and had Matt delete everything.
Okay.
I think it was real. They wore kerchiefs on their heads and were probably 22 or 23. I loved the series, but it's nowhere to be found online anymore. I'd love to watch it again. It's all gone. Kristen, it's all gone. Phrogging, Living with Strangers. Livingwithstrangers.com. The website's not there. These videos do not exist.
I wonder.
From a bygone era that you could put something online and then pull it and it's just
completely gone.
No one has it.
I wonder whether it was real or not. Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah. Will it ever come back?
Very intriguing.
Someone knows something.
Absolutely. Somebody out there has the answers, but they're probably not giving them up.
No information at all. And the last thing that I will leave you with, Chrissy, from my portion about real life stuff, unless you have anything you want to say about Phrogging Hider in my house, because admittedly I didn't pull ones and twos of here's a case of somebody doing legit Phrogging. I pulled some 10 pole oddities.
No, I think this is great. And then if you're interested in seeing more specific stories, give that a look.
Okay,
Phrogging Hider in my house.
Gotta sell ads to this or something. Gotta get an affiliate code.
I would love to be sponsored by Lifetime.
Put on Phrogging Hider in my house on Hulu or Lifetime, and before it plays, say promo code GTTU.
And then you'll just enjoy it more.
In your house. You'll just have more fun.
It'll just make you feel good.
Just quietly whisper, Guide to the Unknown sent me, and then hit play. That's right. And that'll benefit us some, not at all.
No, it'll benefit in a universal way. It'll make us feel good.
Yeah, we'll set it somewhere. I'll get a chill up my spine and know.
Yep.
So here's the last thing I want to share with you, which makes total sense. If you just Google Phrogging, one of the top results you get is from Brinks.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Which is a home security company. Brinks has a whole page on their website, how to tell if someone is Phrogging in your home.
God.
And it's a whole article. They do the whole shebang. What is Phrogging?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? And then here are here are some of their four of the key reasons from this article that they're like, this is how you know. 1, you hear strange noises, which we all do anyway, because our houses are moving around us like some sort of
settling.
A living creature. We're just like in the stomach of a big
whale.
Disgusting organism. 2, you notice things are missing or moved. 3, your pets are on high alert.
Oof.
This is horrifying, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another thing about Phrogging Living with Strangers. There was some article I found. I don't remember where. Maybe it'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
Where somebody titled it Living Like a Poltergeist.
Oh, God.
Or Living as a Poltergeist.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a poltergeist in your house.
Yep.
And I'm going to move stuff, which is like not a Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, Charles Manson creepy crawl.
Charles Manson had his Manson family creepy crawl, which is where he sent them into people's homes to move furniture.
Just give things a scooch to make them feel ill at ease.
Ugh.
I know.
Ugh. So you hear strange noises, you notice things are moved or missing, your pets are on high alert, you feel as though you're being watched. There's a lot of fear-mongering. It's a scary thing.
Yeah, and also they're trying to sell you security.
Bingo!
Yeah.
It turns out that there's a great way that you can stop people from Phrogging, and obviously...
It's using Brinks.
It's specifically Brinks.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on the Brinks.
Brinksing your house.
We're on the Brinks website, so what else are you going to expect? I just think it's funny.
It is funny.
Because they would never ever be like, get a Ring camera.
No.
You got to get the
Brinks camera.
The Brink camera. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we got your back on Phrogging. Which they do, presumably. I
would imagine they do. I'm sure it's good.
Every time you lock your house door, whisper GTTU pod.
Yeah, and that should do it.
To your Brinks. that should take care of things for the night. But there you go. Some real life Phrogging.
Yikes, yikes, yikes. Well, Will, from non-fictional Phrogging to fictional.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you about the Helen Hunt movie, I See You.
Finally.
Right after we make sure you know about patreon.com/GTTUpod. This is where you can go to support the show, which helps us in a humongous way. I cannot even tell you. And in exchange, we have a bunch of thank you bonuses that you can avail yourself of. We actually have a whole second weekly podcast called the Netherworld Dispatch that comes out every Monday, and our Demon tier patrons get all of those episodes. And we have a number of other tiers where you can get them bi-weekly or monthly. You just kind of cruise around patreon.com/GTTUpod and see what works for you. And we also have commentary tracks for all of the Scream movies, all of the Twilight movies, the Blair Witch Project. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, but I want to do Blair Witch.
Hell yeah.
Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want more commentary tracks.
Yeah, me too. It's very fun. And you get access to our Discord. We even have a $1 tier where it's just access to the Discord, which has awesome people every single day chatting, supporting each other, talking about what books, TV, games, podcasts, movies they're into. It's really wonderful. So yeah, go check it out.
It's a whole party.
Yeah.
A whole GTT universe.
That's
Join
right.
us. Most recent episode of the Netherworld Dispatch is episode 138, where we get into horror franchise news. Literally going through most of the big horror franchises, trying to figure out where they're at.
Yeah.
You setting up a sequel? Are we filming? What, Halloween is going to be a TV series now?
I know.
We get into the whole shebang, except Scream. We talk about everything in great detail except Scream.
Yeah. You already know.
Everybody already knows about Scream.
Yeah.
But so go check that out. Patreon.com/GTTUpod. And I've got a lovely review here as well from Crod.
Thank you so much. We're trying to get as many reviews as possible because it really helps people decide to check out the show. And yeah, Will, take it away from Crod.
Krod1968 says, "Stop! You have found the podcast you're looking for."
Thank you.
I love these two. I found this podcast a while ago, and it has been a favorite since then. They never fail to crack me up. Their giggles are contagious, and I find myself giggling along with them. I always have fun, even when I don't have any interest in the topic, which means I have a fun time learning about things that I would not have without this podcast.
Wow.
Great show. 5 stars.
Wow.
I'll tell you what.
Thank you so much, Crod.
K-Rod touched on
K-Rod.
the lifeblood of A Guide to the Unknown,
Yeah.
which is that sometimes we're talking about
Giggles?
giggles and good times.
Yeah.
But sometimes we're talking about weird stuff that maybe neither one of us have ever even really heard of before. So who knows what you're going to get yourself into?
Absolutely.
Except, we're just going to have a good time hanging out, learning about it,
Yeah.
and goofing around.
Right.
So thank you, K-Rod. Thank all of you so much. If you are of a
Yes.
mind and of an ability, please consider leaving us an Apple Podcasts review. I'd love to get that to 1,000.
I know.
And I want to show a lot of
getting there.
Spotify love.
Yes. Thank you so much to everybody who's been listening to us on Spotify.
Make sure you leave us a 1 to 5 stars, 5 stars, please, over on
Don't do a
Spotify.
1. Yeah.
Drop a bunch of ones.
Don't you?
The ones all add up to 5s, don't they?
No.
Is that how it works? Hit us with a 1 star.
God.
Anyway, thank you so much for your support, everybody.
Yes, thank you very, very much. All right, William. So this movie, I See You.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, I know everything about it. I watched it.
You did?
Not this week.
Oh, I didn't know that you've seen it before.
Yeah, I told you I've seen it before.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, you knew that I knew this. In fact, by gum.
Interesting.
But I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Do I remember much of it? Nope.
All right.
No.
Let me refresh your memory.
The thing for me is I was working on something called I See You.
Oh, okay.
And then I saw this.
And you
I was
wanted to
like,
see if there was overlap?
Let's see what's going on here. So I put it on.
Okay,
And,
gotcha.
And I was like, why isn't anyone talking about this? This is okay.
Yeah.
And then it turns out people are sort of talking about it. It's
They
like
are.
a sleeper.
Very much so. So it came out in 2019, but it blew up this year, 2023, because somebody on TikTok named @TheWeekendWatch posted about it, and they were like, "This movie is on Netflix. I don't hear anybody talking about it. It's pretty sweet." And then it ended up going to #1 on Netflix for a good while.
That's neat.
So maybe out there you've seen it, maybe you haven't. But heads up, I'm spoiling the entire thing. So if you don't want to hear that, maybe jump off here and you can come back if you would like to.
Hop to another lily pad and then hop on back.
That's right.
Froggy.
That's right. Just frog away to another episode. Okay, so here is what happens in this movie. First of all, it stars Helen Hunt of Mad About You and of What Women Want. Everybody knows.
Twister.
Oh, what am I talking about? That's my #1 Helen Hunt vehicle. I love Twister.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kicks ass. When's the last time you saw Twister?
Long time ago.
Oh, William. Twister's great. You
Is
gotta
it?
watch. Yeah.
Eh,
It's both great and not great, but it's great to watch.
I like things that don't twist.
All right, so that might not be for you.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, she's in it. The other person who's like, I kind of recognized him. His name is John Tenney. He's in a bunch of things. I feel like maybe when you see his face, you might be like, oh, that guy. Not John L. Tenney, who writes about occult stuff.
Okay.
Who people who listen to us might know of. But yeah. So here's the plot. Here's what happens. So a 10-year-old named Justin Witter is abducted while he is riding his bike. So the opening scene of this movie is this kid riding his bike, flying along, and then it like you see him basically levitate off of his bike going backward.
Okay.
So something also that I found out about this movie post watching it is that, and I totally understand why people thought this, I just happened not to, and I think partially because I had an inkling of what was going on and I kind of knew Phrogging was involved. A lot of people apparently going into this thought this was a supernatural movie. They thought it was like a ghosty kind of thriller.
Ding, ding, ding.
What?
I did too.
Okay. So people thought he was being like, I don't know, taken by a ghost or an alien or like something.
Levitating
from his bike.
off of his bike, being ascended into a spaceship.
Right.
A ghost spaceship.
Yes, a ghost spaceship. But I guess because I knew that it was, reality based as far as being in our world,
Yeah.
I thought it was almost just kind of like symbolic or something. I thought it was
an artful child snatching scene. As crazy as to say, yes.
Right.
So you knew that it was about Phrogging before you watched it.
Well, yeah, because of the show. The reason I even really it was on our radar for a show and everything is because on Thanksgiving I was talking about Phrogging with
You watched it only for the show. You had not seen. Okay.
Yes, at the table with our family I was talking about Phrogging. And your brother-in-law, is he my brother-in-law? No, it's too far away, right? But Michael, your wife Allie's brother.
Does that make him your brother-in-law?
No. Let's say it.
Yeah.
I like it. My brother-in-law, Michael.
Sure.
Said like, oh, I know about that. I saw this movie. I see you, whatever. And so anyway, that's kind of how this rolled. So that's why I knew that this was involving Phrogging before I watched it. So this kid's abducted and we find out that a detective named Greg Harper is on the case. And he is also working with a detective named Spitsky. And it turns out that this child abduction seems very similar to a bunch of abductions that happened 15 years ago, where a green pocket knife is found at the scene of all of these kids' disappearances. And there's a guy in jail right now for all of those abductions. But now that a new one has occurred, he's pushing for a mistrial because he couldn't have done this.
Yeah.
Yet it's following the same MO as all the crimes that he is in prison
There's
for.
a new green pocket knife abduction while I've been in jail, therefore I must go free.
Yep.
It's the exact same way that Kramer went free when the Southside Strangler, not the Smog Strangler.
Speak on it.
Thank you. I don't like this again.
Why snapping
I'm not
so
feeling the
much?
snapping right now. You've got a sass to you that I'm not appreciating, and I wish.
No, the snapping is like clapping for
No,
like,
I know, but
yeah,
I'm
for
just saying.
beatniks like me.
Feel less good.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'll dial it down. So yeah, they're like, what the hell? So they're like looking into this anew. Not that they would not look into subduction anyway, but
of course
they're backtracking. So there are two kids who escaped from the original abductions from way back then, and they're gonna go visit one of these kids. And so they go to his house, and his parents kind of like say, I don't remember exactly, but they're like, he has mental health issues, basically. And he's in a shed, kind of like working on some toys that he's like doing miniatures or something. And the police come, he turns his head like halfway and his face is burned.
Oh.
And they said that he did it to himself.
Wow, I don't remember any of this.
Oh, okay. I mean,
remember the green
minor.
pocket knife.
It's
That's
2
it.
seconds.
Yeah.
But his face is burned. One of his eyes might look a little bit cloudy, and he turns around and he sees the detectives there, and he just starts screaming, no, 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 no.
Traumatized.
Just frantic.
Yeah.
And so seeing these guys is making him remember having to be interviewed about all this stuff. And so the scene cuts from there, basically. We learn that Greg is married to a woman named Jackie, who is Helen Hunt, and they have a son named Connor, who's a moody teen.
Remind me who Greg is. Is he one of the detectives?
He's one of the detectives.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So it's his house, and he's one of the detectives who are investigating these disappearances.
Okay.
Connor, his son, is just like a moody teen, and he's got a major thing against his mom right now because she had an affair.
Yeah.
And Greg has been sleeping on the couch because of this until he decides to, like, she's like, please come upstairs. Like, it seems like they've been kind of, maybe this happened not forever ago, but a little while ago, and she's apologized. We don't know how they found out or anything. I did like this movie. I feel like it was a little frustrating that there were some things that you just don't know, and perhaps you don't really have to, but like, you just kind of get the sense that he must have found out kind of recently if he's sleeping on the couch. You don't know.
There's a lot that you have to intuit in ICU. It's also structured, if I remember correctly, it's structured like the end of Back to the Future Part 2. Or it's like, let's replay this scene again, but from a new perspective. So, you thought one thing was happening, but now when we replay the moment from somebody else's point of view...
You ruined the big reveal. I thought you were a storyteller. What's going on here?
Well, because I can't... I was having a hard time following.
I'm just kidding.
I was having a hard time figuring out how Phrogging was going to play into this.
Because there's a big twisty thing in the middle of this that I will get to.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So, here, I'm feeling too good.
See, I'm trying to help you feel worse. I can't have you over here feeling all chuffed and...
I have my notes in a specific way. So she says to Greg, like, come back to sleep with me or whatever. And he's like, I think I'll move into the guest room. So this night that he comes home, he pops an Ambien, and then he goes to the guest room to go to sleep, and he wakes up having pee-peed all over the bed like Fuller.
Wait, Greg did?
peed.
Greg pee-peed?
Yeah. I guess just the
He had
Ambien,
a Pepsi?
Probably had a Pepsi and the Ambien combo.
Since you brought up Fuller.
Yeah.
I had a Fuller revelation in the last week.
Ooh.
I'll make it so brief, I swear to God.
I'm fine.
Last week we talked about Fuller. Mm-hmm. Fuller wet the bed. I don't remember if we talked about it on Guide to the Unknown or the Netherworld Dispatch, but we brought up
Fuller
from Home Alone.
Or even just before the show during the live taping.
That's a great point,
So we tape live on youtube.com/GTTUpod every week.
Nice.
On Wednesdays at 7. Well,
that was professional.
Promoing, but also I can imagine being at home being like, wait, what?
What are you talking about? Yeah.
And there's a chat going, and before we actually start doing the regular show, we talk to the chat a little bit.
Yeah, if you don't watch us live, you're missing out on like a couple minutes before and after.
Yeah, it's fun.
So Fuller in Home Alone is Macaulay Culkin's cousin who he doesn't want to sleep in a bed with Fuller because he'll wet the bed if he has Pepsi, and he is having Pepsi, and he even sort of like has this grin on his face like, you know what that means. So I was of course I'm thinking about that over the course of the week since we last recorded. He's named Fuller. Beyond full. Overflowing, you might say. Yeah. Therefore, urinating in the bed.
He's too full.
He is aptly named.
That's so funny. He is.
How about that?
There's no getting around it.
How about that revelation?
It's huge.
Of like a 30-year-old movie.
That's so funny. So there's this discord in the house, and also mysterious events are starting to happen. So the record player keeps turning on out of nowhere. All the silverware goes missing just randomly. And a repairman who came to fix a window said that Helen Hunt comes home when the repairman is leaving. Basically, he scares her. And he's like, by the way, she says, how'd you get in? And he's like, oh, your daughter let me in. She was super polite, by the way. Thanks for that. And she's like, daughter? Because they don't have a daughter. Oh. Then she sees that all the silverware is missing, and she assumes that the handyman must have taken it because she sees it right after. And then Connor finds all the silverware in the dryer later on.
Yeah, that
the clothes dryer.
This is like from another type of life that people have where like the silverware is worth something.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
like my silverware is like all scratched.
Totally. She's like, Greg, the silverware is missing. I was like, ours is like random stuff.
Silverware? You mean that stuff you get on the cheap from Target?
Totally. Yeah. The TV starts turning on by itself. Like she's in the kitchen one day making dinner, and the TV pops on, and it's the news story about the missing kid. And she walks over and she turns it off. She doesn't seem like she really wants to hear it. And it turns on again. It's like, what the hell is going on? Greg sees so the son has a pet hamster, And one day, actually, it's when Greg is taking the Ambien to go to sleep. He sees the hamster in the hallway. He's like, what are you doing here? So he chases the hamster to pick it up to put it back in its cage. And it goes into the closet. And Greg goes in to follow it. And then the closet doors close. And Greg is like, all right, Connor, very funny, whatever. Because he can see the shadow of feet outside the closet. He's like, all right, Connor, that's enough. Like, stop messing around. And he's not being let out. The feet
something else closed him in the closet.
Exactly. So he starts like pounding on the closet door, and then Helen Hunt shows up, and he's like, where's Connor? And she's like, I don't know. I just heard you banging around down here. Like, what's going on? They have a gallery wall of pictures on the way up their stairs, and pictures are starting to disappear from the frames. They're just gone. And then one day, Jackie is in Connor's room picking up clothing for the laundry, and sees this weird ass frog mask under the bed. And it's like kind of bothering her. Like, she's just looking at it, like, what is that? But then she just sort of moves on and forgets about it. So later on, Jackie is visited by the guy she was cheating on Greg with, Todd. Comes to the back door of the house when Greg is at work.
Okay.
And she's like, what are you doing here? Like, get out of here. So she goes into the backyard with him, or the back porch. And he's like, I'm in love with you. Like, we can't end this, whatever. And she's like, look, I told you I don't want to do this anymore. I don't love you. I'm not leaving, whatever. And then this mug falls from the roof and falls on Todd's head and really like conks him, like he's bleeding and stuff. And Jackie assumes that it must have been her son Connor, because nobody else is home.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Connor threw a
home.
mug from upstairs when he saw Mama's
Right. And he's already been pissed that she was cheating. So she guesses that must be the deal. And so she's like, oh God, what am I going to do? She also had told Connor that she wants to drive him to school for a while because of these abductions going on. He's much older than the boys being abducted, but still, you never know.
Sure.
So she brings Todd to the basement and is like, all right, stay here. I got to bring Connor, my son, to school. When I come back, I'll take you to the hospital because this isn't looking good. But like, she just doesn't want to risk Connor seeing anything going on. So she leaves. While she's gone, Todd is attacked in the basement. We just see him hit from behind. You don't see who did it, what did it, whatever. And then Jackie comes back and finds Todd dead.
Oh, fully dead.
Yes, fully dead. And she thinks Connor must be responsible in some way. Like
him,
either he came back and did something, or that thing with the pot or the mug just like really did a number, and it took a few minutes for it to totally have an effect. So then Greg comes home from work, and Jackie is freaking out, brings Greg to Todd's body. Remember, he's a detective, and tells him the truth that he came earlier in the day. She told him like it's no go, and that this thing fell on his head. It had to be Connor because nobody else was here. And if anything, if people find out about this, Connor is going to go to jail, and it's going to be a whole thing. And she and Greg decide to bury the body of Todd to protect Connor. So they drive out into the woods and they bury him.
You can understand why they would be making these assumptions.
Yeah. If you have no idea. Yeah. Although I feel like when things are going missing like that. If you didn't know that we're doing an episode
about Phrogging.
Yes. Yeah. I think if you didn't know anything going to this movie, like I said, I think I'd be thinking the same thing. Like,
of course.
This is.
I got to have that experience too.
Right.
Because I literally, I never do this. It's literally just because I saw something that was using a title that I wanted to use.
Right.
That I put it on. And then was like, I don't know what this is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it turned into a Phrogging story and somebody said the word Phrogging, they were like, it's called Phrogging.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. But I was still into it. Like,
it's very
despite
compelling.
the word.
A twist, a turn, a surprise. It's a really, and it's a nice tight, I think it's an hour and 38 minutes.
Yeah.
It's super watchable and like fun to watch. I'm a real a sucker for a surprise, a twist, a turn. I just really like it.
It's the Netflix equivalent of like direct to DVD,
yes.
where it's like you don't even know that this thing exists, so it can then surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an underdog.
Yeah, completely. So things are starting to mess with Connor too at home. Like, he's the one who finds the missing silverware in the dryer and is like, what the hell? He's playing a computer game in his room, and the game is like on sometimes when he wasn't playing it. Mm-hmm. And one day he's playing the game in his room. He gets up to go to the bathroom or something, and he comes back and there's a message on his computer in like, it was kind of confusing. It seemed to be a messaging app, but like somebody must have typed it on his computer, so whatever.
Yeah.
But it said, "Do you know what phrogging is?" Which is so weird. And he wrote back and he's like, "Who is this?" or whatever.
That's embarrassing.
Yes.
That's like everyone remembers where they were when they first heard the term phrogging.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. For Connor, it was then.
Do you think it's supposed to be cool?
I
Is
know.
it a cool word?
Connor gives it a quick Goog. He doesn't. He like goes to his Google and does what is phrogging, and then he goes back and he's like, "Who is this? Why are you messing with me?" or something. And you, as a viewer, see that there's somebody with a mask on behind him. Greg and Jackie, after coming back from burying this body, these people are really going through it. Find Connor tied up in the bathtub with a green pocket knife stabbed into the soap next to him.
Oh.
So Jackie takes Connor to the hospital, and we see Greg going through the house with a baseball bat, looking for who might have done this. And then we see we hear the record player going on, I guess we see the record player go on, and we see Greg walk up to it to investigate, and then we see this masked figure with an axe swing it at him. Now, cut. Things are very different. Now we are looking at almost like found footage style stuff, or I should say like handy cam kind of footage, where it is two people who are recording themselves, like you were saying, those two from ilivewithstrangers.com, recording themselves watching this family's car roll out. And then as the garage door goes down, they hightail it in there and get in there like, whoa, we made it. And we learn that these two people's names are Mindy and Alec. They are homeless. And Mindy has been a habitual frogger. And she told Alec about it. And he was curious and he wanted to come along with her. And she said that he had a video camera and they decided to just kind of make this like documentary.
Pause.
Yes.
Now, that I remembered.
Mm-hmm.
I remembered them recording themselves.
Yeah.
So I already checked to see if the creative team behind I See You, maybe that thing I talked about from 2007 was fictional.
Yeah.
We don't know. We'll never see it. It's been deleted.
Yeah.
What if I See You, the movie, is them finally taking their idea from 2007 to the next level?
I was thinking that when you were, I don't know.
I still don't think so.
I think that they would say that.
But that would be so cool.
Yeah.
At minimum, I feel like, especially because the term phrogging became a thing because of this movie.
Yeah.
And only ever appeared in 2007.
Right.
Plainly, this movie is inspired by this lost media.
Yes, it would have to be.
Thing that was posted to the internet and has been scrubbed the way that few things get scrubbed.
Absolutely.
So they saw that, or they knew about it.
I think, they would have to. It's a big coincidence.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yes, they're going to make this documentary about phrogging. And Minnie does it a lot, but this is Alec's first time, and she let him pick the house. He had the honor. So he's pumped. He even brought this weird-ass frog mask with him.
Getting too into the frog side of it. It is a great mask. I like it.
Awesome. It's very it's a very minimal frog mask. It almost looks like it was like carved from something or sculpted. So it just has like a big a straight mouth and these kind of like buggy eyes.
It's got like chameleon eyes.
Yeah, it looks more like a chameleon than a frog.
How like
actually.
Chameleons' eyes are like a little cone that sticks out of their head.
Yes.
That's what the frog mask eyes look like.
Totally.
But he's way into the frog, as I suppose you might be.
But Mindy's doing it really to live. Like, I think she gets a kick out of it too, but she is homeless. And so this is how she's living. Alec, while homeless, is coming along and is like really getting into the frog side. So she is saying, you wanna be undetectable.
Yeah.
And Alec is like, but don't you kind of want to mess with them? Like, don't you want to like push them a little bit? And it's like a bone of contention between them. Yeah. She's like, no, I absolutely don't want to.
No, I want to survive.
Right.
And like, they're the haves, I'm the have not.
Yes. And he is like, getting a kick out of this in a way. So now is where we start to see, and also it's
sicko
kicko. So it's not all camcorder style from them the rest of the time. It ends up kind of moving away from that, and it's just filmed like the regular movie. And we start to see, like you said, events from earlier in the movie, but now from their perspective and understanding them differently. So for instance, something that we saw earlier was that Greg noticed a coffee cup outside on the roof with cigarette butts in it, and he was like, ugh, Connor, his son. So he went to get it, and it turns out that was actually Alex. He had been going out on the roof and smoking, and that was another thing where Mindy was like, get in here, like, what are you doing? He took the silverware and put it in the dryer just for shits and giggles. And he downloaded an app connected to their TV so that he could turn it on and off and weird them out. That time Greg pee-peed the bed like Fuller, Alec actually stood astride him and peed onto him.
Now this, when I saw this in the movie, I saw the frog go into the room where the couple's sleeping and he just starts peeing on the guy.
Yeah. Bold move.
I stood up and applauded the movie.
I said, what are you doing?
I said, this is bravo.
I know.
I never would have anticipated this.
In a million years. They had
Talk about surprise. I was already surprised that it wasn't a ghost story and that it was about frogs with PH. That spun my head.
Frogs, yeah.
And then he's urinating on the gentleman. Who's nestled tightly and snugly in bed.
No, William, he's actually not nestled. I didn't write this, but another thing that had happened, they'd shown earlier in the movie Greg sleeping in the guest room and his cover is being pulled down off of him. And I guess you're supposed to think because he took an Ambien. And also when he took it, it's one of his wife's Ambiens. So it's kind of implying he doesn't take this a lot.
Right, yeah.
And even when he takes it, he gives like a little like, what the hell sort of face. He had a long day. So I guess it just like is supposed to have really knocked the hell out of him. So the guy took off his cover, slide down, and then pee-peed right onto his boxers.
What a deranged,
I know,
horrifying,
so nuts.
Again, unexpected moment.
I know. I was pretty shocked.
I saluted my TV.
Yeah, I thanked it for its service. So yeah, and like when Jackie was picking up laundry and she saw this like weird frog thing, that was because Alec was in Connor's room just like poking around, whatever, and then heard Jackie coming, was like shit, and went under the bed. And luckily there was like crap under the bed that could obscure his body. And so when she saw this frog mask, she was looking right at him. It was him down there.
It was him?
Yes.
I was picturing a discarded mask. He was under there?
It was him.
Oh God.
So a big event that we see from their eyes that recontextualizes it is that Mindy was in the basement and saw the whole thing when Todd got murdered down there, when we see him get hit. And the assailant is revealed to be Greg, the husband.
Oh, the husband, the detective husband.
Yes. So she sees this, goes upstairs to find Alec and alert him, only to see Alec tying Connor up. Remember when Jackie got home and she sees Connor in the bathtub tied up with the green pocket knife? That's Alec doing that. So she sees him doing that. She's like, you're going nuts. Like you're getting way too into this. I have to call the police. Like this is enough. And he's like, no, you can't, whatever. And he accidentally pushes her down the stairs and she gets conked out. So he's trying to figure out like what to do. And he puts her in her unconscious body in Greg's car. And I guess is like, I got to figure this out later or something.
Okay. All right.
So there are a number of like.
Yeah. Pause again. Because we've got this is where I didn't even realize I was blowing up your spot before when I was like the perspective thing. Because I remembered this movie as much as I enjoyed it, having too much stuff.
It has a lot of stuff. And there are also a lot of things that just don't make sense. Like, why would Greg kill Todd and then just like go to work or something? Like leave him in the basement?
Because he has an alibi now, so that his wife can tell him that Todd is dead and she won't suspect him.
But what must
But it's framing his own son.
Right, exactly. Like what must he think had happened? Because we don't even know that he saw what happened to Todd to make him bloody in the first place.
Exactly, right.
So it's just weird.
So I misremembered ICU as habitually, from everyone's different point of view, constantly switching.
No,
I didn't realize that there's one pivot to now the Froggers' point of view of the events. I just remembered that there are a number of people with hidden motives to justify all of the crazy stuff going on. Because now you have just revealed the beginnings of the next twist. You already surprised us. It was a ghost story. No, it's not. There are Froggers. They put the silverware in the dryer. They were doing all those things. Now you're starting to hit us with twist number 2. Somebody was killed. Well, obviously it's got to be the Froggers, the villains that we revealed. No, it's not. It's the father of the family who took the Ambien and woke up covered in piss.
Yeah.
He's a killer who killed Todd.
Yes. And worse than that, as a matter of fact. So Alec put Mindy's body into Greg's car. And after Jackie leaves to take Connor to the hospital, this is like all very rapid fire.
It's all happening simultaneously. That's where I get back to the Future Part 2, where I'm like, these things are happening
They're, like, just missing each
simultaneously.
other.
They're layered on top. Yeah, exactly. And now you said that they put Mindy's body in the car, but it's not her. It's her body technically, but she's not dead.
No, she's unconscious.
Passed
though.
out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Greg drives away, unknowingly taking Mindy with him in the car. So Mindy comes to in the car, and there's like this big duffel bag next to her, and she decides to look in it, and she sees a plastic bag full of green pocket knives and Justin Witter, the missing kid's shirt. It says Witter on the back.
Oh, okay.
And it says like sports shirt or whatever. And she realizes that Greg is the kidnapper of these kids.
The thing that kicked off the whole movie that everyone forgot about.
The detective who is investigating this is indeed the abductor himself.
Yeah.
So he parks in the forest, walks away somewhere. She sneaks out and tries to call 911, but the connection is like very in and out. And she's just saying that like, I'm in the woods. I don't know where I am, whatever. And the cops are like, all right, we'll try to geolocate your cell or something. Then she she sees in the woods this trailer, like a, what do you call this? Like an Airstream trailer, like a big silver oval looking trailer.
Oh, like an old fashioned 50s looking trailer?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's lit up from the inside and it has newspaper taped on all the windows so you can't see inside. So she knows what the deal is now. This is where Greg has been taking these boys.
Scary serial killer hideout.
Yes. So she goes inside and there are 2 closets in the trailer that are zip tied, and there are 2 boys in there being like, get me out, get me out. And she's like, okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you out. And she's like looking around for something to cut them. And you see Greg coming up behind her and he knocks her out. So then I think the next thing we know basically is they're back at the house and she's on the couch and he's like weirdly calm and all business and just keeps telling her, you have to stand up, you have to stand up. And she finally stands up because he's like right there and he's like not laying up or whatever. And she says, you don't have to do this. And he's like, I do. And he shoots her and kills her.
Oh.
Then, because now she knows that he's the abductor guy.
But he actually kills her.
Yes.
She is dead.
Yes, she's dead. And
I forgot that. Wow.
He's got a couple of guns. He shoots a couple shots into the wall and then cleans a gun and puts it in her hand so he can say it was self-defense or whatever. So then we are seeing the scene from when we thought that he was just going through the house looking for whoever did this to Connor. Like basically what it showed us previously just cut out a huge chunk where he had left to go to the boys.
Yeah.
This is another thing that's like, I wouldn't call it a plot hole, but it's not explained. And when I was doing research afterward, I heard people talking about this. Presumably he might think because somebody tied up Connor, put the green knife in the soap, that they know that he's the bad guy. Yeah. So now he has to go essentially destroy
so who knows
evidence.
My identity? Yeah.
So now he's going to kill the boys. He has in the trailer because he's got to like tie up loose ends, essentially. So we didn't see all that, but before what we saw was the record player going on and him going toward it. Now we're seeing that again.
Oh, and then Frog came up with an axe.
And
that was when we cut. Yeah.
Yes. So now we're seeing that happen again. Frog comes up with an axe and he catches it. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't get hurt. And they start like fighting like crazy. And Greg is able to knock out Frog, Alec, the other Frogger. And then he goes about staging another scene where it's like, I had to kill these people in self-defense. So he stabs himself in the shoulder with a kitchen knife. Jill Roberts much?
Yeah. Scream 4 called.
Right.
They want their
thing back.
That's a good joke. It's fine.
It's good. Alec regains consciousness because I don't know why Greg didn't just kill him. Yeah. Frankly, it makes no sense that he like conked him out and then he was like, all right, off to stage the scene. Of course he got back up. So Alec regains consciousness, pops up, and he says, I know what you are. And Greg, looking at him, recognizes him. He is one of the boys he had abducted back in the day, grown up. And he looks all freaked out. And he says, I can't really remember. I didn't write down the exact quote for the first part of it. He either says, you don't understand, or he says, it's not what you think. And then he goes, when I was a boy, and Alex says, like, I don't care or something, and shoots him with the gun that he got in the scuffle and kills him.
Greg is dead.
Greg is now dead. So
his villain monologue or his sympathize, feel bad for me monologue We don't. Who needs it?
And they were definitely like implying the cycle of abuse.
Which
happens.
is, I can at least appreciate the dramatic, like, he was going to do the thing that people always do.
Right. And it's like, it doesn't
but you
matter.
don't understand how bad I had it. Who cares? You're out.
Right. Totally. So the police had been called already by this point. I can't remember how or why or whatever, but the police have been called that something going on at the home. Maybe Jackie called them about
by
Connor.
some other layered plot element happening over here.
Yeah, who knows? But the detective who had been working with Greg, who we've met before, Detective Spitsky, arrives.
Oh, Spitsky.
I know.
You missed a lot, Spitsky.
He sure did. And he sees Greg on the floor. Again, this is not protocol. I don't know why he did this. He sees Greg down on the floor. Obviously not good. But then just immediately shoots Alec, like in the shoulder.
Oh.
So Alec isn't dead, but he shoots him. Alec isn't even like aiming a gun at him or anything. I don't think that's what you're supposed to do. But the two then realize that they recognize each other. Like Alec knows that that's his detective from before, and Spitsky's like, wait a second. And we don't really go any further with it than that.
It's implied
for the two
enough.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jackie and Connor, this is basically just to tie a bow on what happened to Jackie and Connor. They come home and they just see that there are cops everywhere, and Jackie looks like shell shocked. And Spitsky discovers the bag of evidence in Greg's car, and the two boys are rescued from that trailer in the woods because I guess they were able to geolocate that girl's phone.
Okay.
And it ends with Alec being like wheeled to the ambulance. At first, you're not totally sure whether he was alive or not because his eyes are just kind of like staring, but he blinks. And it's a flashback of him as a little kid and that other boy who grew up and burned himself. I think his name is Tommy, just like walking on a train track. And you see like a grown up walking up to them and like gives them a green pocket knife. And then you see that it's Greg, the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's it.
It's a wild.
I think it's a fun
The construction
watch.
is wild.
Yeah. I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah,
like there's a lot going on. There are obviously things to be like, wait, what about it? But I don't know. It was a pretty, even though I knew that Phrogging was coming, the total shift of like, now we're with the Froggers and we're going to watch these scenes from their perspective, I thought was really fun and cool.
That's a really interesting way to go about it. Yeah. But that layered on top, because it's not just that.
No.
Like, and it might have been too simple, but you can imagine a story where it's like, oh my God, ghost story. No, wait, Froggers.
Totally.
And they've done that a million times before. There are countless movies where it's boy in the walls.
Yep.
The Boy.
I love The Boy. If this movie didn't
Sadly, we didn't have time for Brahms this week. Brahms is getting bumped.
I had planned.
Thank you to Brahms.
Sorry to this Brahms. I had planned to cover The Boy as well because I didn't realize quite how layered this movie was going to be.
Yeah.
There was too much to talk about.
We've been here for 5 days.
I know, but Brahms slaps, Brahms kicks, Brahms hugs.
Sucks.
No. I love Brahms. Well, not Brahms 2. I don't like Brahms 2.
Brahms
The Boy.
chews it.
No. The Boy is awesome.
No.
Well, the end is. It's so awesome when he pops out. Obviously, you can infer from us talking about how it's a Phrogging thing. This is a spoiler, although you probably figured it out already.
I know.
In The Boy, they think it's just a haunted doll. It's actually a grown boy in the walls. It's so awesome.
So I see you could easily just be Frogger twist, but once you weave in this, like, there was a kidnapper, serial killer guy, and now you do your twist reveal. Oh, there are Froggers in the house. Twist reveal. One of the Froggers is going too hard because he's essentially here for revenge.
Yeah. So when he is kind of going crazy. Like,
yeah, yes, absolutely.
But yeah, it's also, there was a purpose. Like when she said, I let Alec pick the house, you thought like, oh, just because it's a really big house.
He just picked a rich person house.
Right.
No. He picked the house of the guy.
Yeah.
The serial killer guy who's been getting away with it for all this time, and he's going to get whatever petty revenge. That's why he's pissing on the guy.
Yeah.
Like everything takes on new context, like 5 different ways.
Yes.
Like the context changes so much in this movie, which can be whiplash inducing.
Yeah.
Okay, Greg took Ambien and went to sleep and pissed himself.
Who among us?
Weird. Oh, twist, there were Froggers in the house and the Frogger peed on the guy. Ugh.
Yeah.
Twist. Oh, Greg is a kidnapping serial killer abuser. And so this was essentially like
Revenge.
a revenge pissing.
Yeah.
It's like a whole the context keeps changing.
Who among?
Which it's done well in the movie, but it is so complicated.
It's absolutely a lot. However, it does come together quite cleanly.
I do agree. I do agree.
I really enjoyed it.
I like it too. Yeah. I do remember thinking favorably about ICU.
Crazy.
Yes,
it's fun.
And now we have ICU to thank for really popularizing the term Phrogging.
Right.
So thank God we get to now enjoy shows as you have, like Phrogging.
Hider in my house.
Hider in my house. I'm a hider.
Yeah.
I would say I'm a hider.
Hider is kind of better.
I'm just gonna give literally I'm just gonna name 2 franchises.
Okay.
That also touch on Phrogging.
Mm-hmm.
So you can consider these spoilers for those franchises.
Great.
You already mentioned The Boy.
Hell yeah, I did.
So we'll just The Boy.
Should have a tattoo that says Brahms.
Brahms for life. Have you ever heard of Bad Ronald?
No.
Do you know what Bad Ronald is?
I don't think so.
I want to watch this.
Okay.
And there's no need to now. It's a 1974 made-for-TV movie. Mm-hmm. It's an adaptation of a 1973 book.
Yeah.
Bad Ronald is essentially Brahms plus ICU.
Okay.
Or
Brahms' Revenge?
What?
Is it Brahms doing revenge?
Welcome back to Brahms. Bad Brahms.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Brahmer. You're trying to work on a Welcome Back Kotter reference?
Yes.
Why? Because 70s? Anyway, Kristen's
That's exactly why.
Kristen's going to take a moment.
All right, fine.
So in ICU, you set up that Helen Hunt thought maybe her son is doing all this bad stuff.
Yeah.
Well, in Bad Ronald was up to no good.
Okay.
And
so he is bad.
He killed a girl.
Oh, boy.
And his mom helped him cover it up. They just buried the girl's body and didn't hope nobody would notice.
Yeah.
And then they sealed up a room where Ronald could hide out.
Oh, God.
Until the heat died down. But then mommy is rushed to the hospital.
Oh, no.
For something and ends up dying. And so nobody knows that Bad Ronald is in the house when it's sold to a new family.
Oh, my God.
And Bad Ronald is watching from inside the walls and falling in love with the daughter of the family and talking to them and stuff. Bad Ronald, everybody. Oof. It's a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah.
That'll make your skin crawl.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. And it's so 70s.
It sounds sweet.
There's no secret. Bad Ronald is in the walls from minute 1, you know?
Yeah.
And Black Christmas.
Yes.
Black Christmas, another big...
I love Black Christmas.
Black Christmas is so good.
That's really one of my favorites. Man. I don't think about it a lot. I haven't seen it a million times. Yeah. However, I love it.
Yep. Yep. So there you go, everybody. Phrogging.
Yeah.
Phrogging.
There it is.
You look like a frog. So do you.
What is that?
It's from the Frogger episode of Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah, of course.
When George was frogging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, perhaps our most famous Frogger.
It's George Costanza. Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Like I said before, if you'd like more of the show, because we have well over 100 episodes of our second podcast out there, that's on patreon.com/GTTUpod, where you can get it.
Always a good time.
Yeah.
Always a good time.
Always
and
fun.
Thank you so much to everybody who supports us. Thank you to everybody who's left us reviews. We would greatly appreciate it if those of you who have not reviewed yet would consider doing so.
Yeah.
Or perhaps sharing the show with a friend.
Yeah, that'd be great.
These things are enormous helps to us. And just thank you so much.
Thank you.
Follow at GTTUpod on all social media. I'm at The Myth Traveler. Were you able to lock down Goody Anderson?
Unfortunately, I am still at Chillin' Kristen because
sad news.
Goody Anderson, straight up, and Goody.Anderson are taken. So, and they're just both being squatted on, by the way. Honestly, they're frogging.
They're frogging on your handle.
Neither one has any posts. Ugh. So I have to get either Goody_Anderson, which feels too long.
No one wants to type an underscore.
And I was thinking, I don't want to say it. Then I got to say, I'm at Goody_Anderson every week.
No one wants to say that.
Goody Anderson 1?
Nope.
Goody Anderson with 2 zeros.
Nope.
No, it's just over, I think. So over. I'm at Chillin' Kristen.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if you are still thinking about changing your handle, start thinking in the hacker arena. Start thinking about Deep Freeze or Turbo or Bring back
When I was
early internet nicknames.
I was Googling how to like get your handle from a squatter or whatever. And there's apparently like people who you can hire to do something. I don't even know what, but I don't want to get into it.
Cyber detective.
I guess. But
I'll take your case. Tell me all about it.
I was raring and ready to go. I was going to change it, but
somebody frogged and squatted into one of our dad's old accounts.
Yes.
Our dad was, an old man on the internet.
Yeah.
He accidentally created a second Facebook page at some point.
It's very confusing.
When he passed away, I archived his real one.
That he actually used.
But overlooked the fake one. Mm-hmm. Not fake. He did have it.
He didn't use it. Yeah.
So it's been online all this time. And then somebody sent me a screenshot that Richard Rogers had changed his picture to some like beautiful young lady. And I was like, Daddy?
Maybe he's back.
He's back.
That's how he came back.
Got a whole new bag.
Yeah.
And so like I had to try to do this whole thing to try to get it back.
Thank you for doing that.
And Facebook essentially at a certain point was like, yeah, but we can't.
I know.
I'm like, of all the things you guys do, you can't figure this one out. So then the whole name got changed and it then became like its name like Olivia Sherman, and I was like, all right, well, at this point, it's just not that account anymore.
Yeah, so it's not really a problem. Nobody's going to mistake it for Daddy.
So it's done.
Yeah.
The problem solved itself.
Yeah.
All right.
Wash our hands of it.
Concluded.
Yeah.
Don't frog.
No, don't frog.
Don't do it.
No good. I don't think anybody who's listening to us wants to frog.
Especially not to us. You don't know. We've got a decent enough audience that somebody out there is listening from inside the walls.
They're very nice.
Who?
So.
What, our audience?
Yeah.
Of course they are.
Of course. I know. So I'm saying they don't want to frog.
Saying.
But just in case, don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. Somebody posted a frog emoji in the chat right now. That's
Alicia, don't do that.
Dangerous behavior. Do not. They should ban. I'm going to contact Apple and have them ban the frog emoji.
Yeah. No, we're going to block.
No. We're not doing this. We are not doing this. So don't frog us. We'll see you next week for more scary stories. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld go we.
Back to my nook.
Yeah.
Back to my
we all the way home.
My cozy I get
a
out
closet in your home.
I get out of my bed, pee onto my own spot, and lie back down. What the hell?
Hey,
who did this?
Turned
to
into
me?
Dad. What the hell?
Al, I think
who did this?
We must have a frogger or something. My half of the bed's all wet. Again.
Oh God.
I checked the rooms. I know we don't have a frogger. Stop it.